वर्मा नारायणात्मकम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान् मघवानिदमाख्यताम् वर्म नारायणात्मकम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान् मघवान् इदम् आख्यातम् वर्म नारायणात्मकम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान्। प्रभु जी। दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान् माताजी। भगवानिकमाख्यातम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान् मघवान्निदम् आख्यातम् वर्म नारायणात्मकम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान् मघवानिदमाख्यातम् वर्म नारायणात्मकम् विजेशस्यञ्जसायेन दंशितोऽसुरयूथपान्. So, word meaning? Magavan, O King Indra, idam, this, akyatam, described, Varma, mystic armor, Narayanatmakam, related to Narayana, Vijeshase, you will conquer, Anjasa, very easily, Yena, by which, Damshitaha, being protected, Asurayutapan, the chief leaders of the demons. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Vishwaroop continued, O Indra, this mystic armor related to Lord Narayana has been described by me to you. By putting on this protective covering, you will certainly be able to conquer the leaders of the demons. So we're just going to read through the other verses and then we're going to discuss. I'll just read the Sanskrit of each and then we will read the translation together as a story, what Vishwarup is trying to instruct to Indra. एतदार्यमानस्तु यं यं पश्यति चक्षुषा पदा वा संस्पृशेत् सद्य साद्वासात् स विमुच्यते न कुतश्चित् भयं तस्य विद्यां धारयतो भवेत् राजदस्युग्रहादिभ्यो व्याधि आदिभ्यश्च कर्हिचित् इमां विद्यां पुरा कश्चित् कौशिको धारयन् द्विज योगधारेण स्वाङ्गं जहौ स मरुधन्वनि तस्योपरि विमानेन गन्धर्वापतिरेकदा ययौ चित्रारतस्त्रीभिर्वृतो यत्र द्विजक्षय Gananyapataat sadya savimano yavakshira Savalikilya vachanat astini adaya vismita prasya prachi saraswatyam snatva dama swam angavat. Shri Shukavacha ya idam shrunuyat kale yo dharati chadrita tam namasyanti bhutani muchyante sarvato bhayat etam vidyam adigatto vishwarupa chatakratuh trailokya lakshmim bhubuje vinirjitva mridisuran. So the translation, the story here is, after Vishwarup has told Indra to put on this armor, now Vishwarup continues to say, if one employs this armor, whomever he sees with his eyes or touches with his feet immediately become freed from all of the above mentioned dangers, which was mentioned in the Narayana Kavacha. This prayer, Narayana Kavacha, constitutes subtle knowledge transcendently connected with Narayan. One who employs this prayer is never disturbed or put in danger by the government, by plunderers, by evil demons, or by any type of disease. This is the glorification of the Narayana Kavacha. O King of Heaven, Indra. Now he tells a story to prove this. A Brahmana named Kaushika formerly used this armor when he purposely gave up his body in the desert by mystic power. Surrounded by many beautiful women, Chitraratha, the king of Gandharva Loka, was once passing in his airplane over the Brahmana's body at the spot where the Brahmana had died. Suddenly, Chitraratha was forced to fall from the sky headfirst with his airplane. Struck with wonder, he was ordered by the great sages named the Valikilyas to throw the Brahmana's bones in the nearby Saraswati river. He had to do this and bathe in the river before returning to his own abode. Shishukadev Goswami said, my dear Maharaj Parikshit, one who employs this armor or hears about it with faith and veneration, when afraid because of any conditions in this material world, is immediately freed from all dangers and is worshipped by all living entities. King Indra, who performed 100 sacrifices, received these prayers of protection from Vishwarupa. After conquering the demons, he enjoyed all the opulences of the three worlds. So this last verse has a purport. We will read this. Srila Prabhupada says, this mystical mantric armor given by Vishwarupa to Indra, the king of heaven, acted powerfully, with the effect that Indra was able to conquer the Asuras and enjoy the opulence of the three worlds without impediments. In this regard, Madhvacharya points out, Vidya karmani chasada guru praptya falaprada anyata naiva falada prasannokta falaprada. One must receive all kinds of mantras from a bona fide spiritual master, otherwise the mantras will not be fruitful. This is also indicated in Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinah. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. All mantras, Srila Prabhupada continues, should be received through the authorized guru, and the disciple must satisfy the guru in all respects. After surrendering at his lotus feet, in the Padma Purana, it is also stated, Sampradaya Vihina ye mantraste nisvala mataha. There are 4 sampradayas or disciplic successions, namely the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Shri Sampradaya, and the Kumara Sampradaya. If one wants to advance in spiritual power, one must receive his mantras from one of these bona fide sampradayas. Otherwise, he will never successfully advance in spiritual life. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purports of the 6th canto, 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled the Narayana Kavacha Shield. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakaanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatrubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So, I'd like to welcome all the devotees for today morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, this is the ending of the last section of the Narayana Kavacha shield, or the narrations of what is the Narayana Kavacha. So, today's class, we thought we will title it as Kavacha, Mantra, and Guru, because these are the three things that are discussed in these verses as well as the purport. So we'll title this class as Guru, Mantra, and Kavacha, but we will discuss Kavacha first, Mantra, and then Guru, because ultimately from Guru only Mantra comes, and by Mantra this Kavacham, this protection comes. So first we want to discuss this about this Kavacha. So this whole section of Narayana Kavacha are invoking different incarnations of the Lord, as we have seen the past few weeks even. Different personalities, different forms of the Lord for a specific function. Now, someone may say God is one, isn't it? Just call the Lord by that one name. Why to make it so complicated? After all, it's all his incarnations, isn't it? But Lord may be one, but his reciprocation with different devotees is different, and therefore the Lord's reciprocation or response to the devotee is multifold. So one Lord, but his response is multifold. Just as like we are all single persons, right? But within us, we have different emotions. And according to that emotions, we react or respond differently with different people. But we are the one same person. So similarly, the Lord himself is one, but when he reacts or responds to different person, he manifests a different form for that particular purpose. This is also mentioned in Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, Yat Yat Dhyata Yadhyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti tat tat vapu pranayashe sat anugrahaya. As a mercy to his devotees, he takes on different forms. So the history of this Narayana Kavacha will be explained in the next chapter of this Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 9th chapter. Basically, I'll just tell in short, not to mess up the future speakers classes who wants to speak on the history. So there's this Dadichi Muni, right? And Dadichi Muni is also called Dhadyan Atharvanas. Those who have studied Ishopanishad, right? The 18 mantras of the Ishopanishad were spoken by Dadichi Muni, Dadhyan, that is revealed to us by Baladev Vidyabhushan in his commentary. So this Dadichi had taught this Narayana Kavacham to a few people. He had taught it to the Ashwini Kumaras, and he had taught it using a horse's head. So there's a whole story which we'll see. You have to come for the class next week, right, to know how he spoke in a horse's head. So sometimes this Narayana Kavacha is also called as Hayagriva Brahma Vidya. In Shastras, there are 3 people who are called Hayagriva. Hayagriva, Hayashirsha. Sometimes the Supreme Lord himself is called as Hayagriva incarnation, where he defeated Madhukaitab and saved the Vedas. That is one form of Hayagriva. Haya means horse, Griva means neck. Hayagriva, sometimes is called as Hayashirsha. So one personality in Shastras is the Lord himself. Another personality is a demon named Hayagriva. Right? If you have seen some photos, especially if you go to some South Indian temples where they have the Samudra Manthan Leela, and you'll see on both sides the Devas and the Danavas, both are standing. And on both sides, you'll see a horse-headed figure. On the Deva side, you'll see a horse-headed figure. On the Daitya side, you'll see a horse-headed figure. He is Hayagriva, he is also Hayagriva, but he is Hayagriva the Lord, and he is Hayagriva a demon. Third personality in Shastras who has a horse head is this Dadichi, who's also called Hayagriva or Hayashirsha. So he spoke to this Ashwini Kumaras, this Brahma Vidya, and he also spoke to his own son, Tvashta, who later spoke it to Vishwarupa, who's the person we are hearing from right now. Okay. So, in wanting to stress on the importance of this Narayana Kavacha, this last section talks how that by putting on this armor, which is made of mantra, a person becomes fearless. Okay. And to speak about the potency or the power of this Narayana Kavacha, they narrate a small story of a Brahmana called Kaushik. Now, again, in Shastras, there are many Brahmanas who are called Kaushik. So we do not know exactly whether this is the other Kaushikas which are mentioned, like Vishwamitra and all, who was called Kaushik before. We're not sure. But here's called a Brahmana who is called Kaushik, and Kaushika, he had placed this mantras, this Narayana Kavacha on his body, and willingly, voluntarily, he had given up his life in some Maru Bhumi, in some desert. So basically, he had a full body samadhi. He had placed his body into samadhi and gave up his body. That place where he gave up his body, his full body samadhi, I hope you know what's full body samadhi. We have samadhis which are full body samadhi, means the actual siddha deha, sharir, or vapu of that personality which is placed there. And some places they don't have a full body samadhi because of whatever circumstance, where the great personality is sometimes, offered into fire, and then the ashes is placed into samadhi. So those are not called full body samadhi. Even our acharyas, we have like that, like Kaviraj Goswami and even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? Whereas other sannyasis and other great acharyas, they have full body samadhis. So anyways, this is a full body samadhi of this Brahmana Kaushika. And here the glorification is mentioned that once a Gandharva named Chitraratha was flying in space with all his associates on his aeroplane. He went across that place, and somehow, by some mystic potency, he was dragged down. Nothing can fly over, right? Sounds like the Bermuda Triangle, isn't it? Okay, some people are thinking probably, is that the Bermuda Triangle? Well, the Bermuda Triangle is, okay, let's see. I don't know. Don't want to speculate too much. So anyways, so he gets dragged down, head first falling down, and he could not fly again. He could not get up. So somehow or other, he was worshipping, and great sages, right? They come and they mention to him, hey, Kaushika, you will not be able to get off the ground again until and unless you take these bones, this body of that Brahmana Kaushika, and just dump it in the Saraswati River. So who knows, from Saraswati River, it end up somewhere in the Americanas, where the Bermuda Triangle is. I don't know. But anyways, so there's some force, people go over, they get attracted to. So anyways, interesting point, right? Nothing is mentioned about it. So, but we can see the power of samadhi in this side point, right? Like devotees, sometimes they ask, why do you go to samadhis? Why do you pray at samadhis? But here's one story of this Brahmana Kaushika, who even after departing the body, that full body samadhi has so much potency, right? So this is mentioned in a book by one senior devotee in ISKCON, Acharya Guru, where he says that he has written a book, Samadhis in Vrindavan, I think it's called. I can't remember the title exactly. Where there he mentions this narrative that do not think that samadhis are just some burial places or some graveyards or something like that. No, samadhis are as potent as mandirs. And sometimes that's why we call it samadhi mandir. As you go to temple to become purified, feel the vibration, feel the energy, right? Learn. Similarly, samadhi is also temples where one goes to meditate, absorb, take in that energy, right? So in ISKCON, we hear many kavachas, right? Besides this Narayana Kavacha. in Brahmanda Purana, there's this famous Narsimha Kavacha, which sometimes during Narsimha Chaturdasi we recite. It's very beautiful. It starts with Narsimha Kavacham Vakshe Prahladenoditam Pura Sarvaraksha Punyam Sarvopadravanashanam. It starts like, then it ends very nicely, very interestingly. Garjantam, Garjayantam, Nijabulapatalam, Spotayantam, Hatantam. So you're inviting the Lord, no? In this Narsimha Kavacha, you're praying to the Lord, my Lord, please protect my ears, protect my eyes, protect my this. Similar to this Narayana Kavacha, that's what Kavachas are. And, at the end, they're playing that, my Lord, please, Dishi Dishi Sadatam, in all directions, protect me, protect me. So, of course, the mood of the devotee is not to always ask the Lord for help. We see in Garga Samhita, also there are other Kavachas, which are very Vaishnava Kavachas. There's Yamuna Kavacham, which praying to Yamuna Devi in different names, right? She's called Navakshi. She's called so many different names. Praying to her to protect the same thing. My eyes, my nose, my front, my back, my this, my that. So there's Yamuna Kavacha also. And in Garga Samhita, there's the same Balabhadra Kavacham, where we are praying to Lord Balaram, that please protect me, please, like this. So once a disciple of Srila Prabhupada wrote to Srila Prabhupada about this Narayana Kavacha, because when devotees read this, they feel like, it's some extra ammunition, bullets to protect ourselves. You have this mantra, that mantra, mantra tantras, So they wrote to Srila Prabhupada asking about this Narayana Kavacha. And Srila Prabhupada replied, about your question about this Narayana Kavacha, well, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is complete. Prabhupada just replies like that. So therefore in ISKCON, our stress, we understand that the holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is everything in itself. That itself is like a Kavacha when we are chanting always. But of course, like we mentioned in the beginning, the Lord is a person. He reciprocates personally. So on special occasions like Narsimha Jayanti, Narsimha Chaturdasi, we do recite this Narsimha Kavacha. So on special occasions, it's okay, right? We can recite, but the consciousness should not be that, my Lord, please protect me, please save my body. But the consciousness is, no matter whatever happens, Diviva, Bhuviva, wherever am I, ultimately, please protect my bhakti. Because another extreme is that to not say, no, I don't want Krishna's protection. Saying that I'm very Shuddha Bhakta, I don't need Krishna's. Actually, that is very arrogant to say that we don't need Krishna's protection. So devotee wants Krishna's protection, but he does not demand for it. So you must be eager for Krishna's protection. You must be convinced and faithful of Krishna's protection. But one should also be patient and not demand for it. In his writings, Jiva Goswami gives one instance where this Narayana Kavacha can be used. He says in the Gautama Tantra, it is mentioned that if a person is worshipping Krishna, but is disrespecting the Devatas, right, they are actually killing their present and previous punyas by worshipping Gopal, but disrespecting the Devatas. So he says how to atone for this, how to do some parigraham, or what is it called? Atonement? Prayaschitam. How to do some prayaschitam for this Deva Helanat, this offense. He says recite the Narayana Kavacha, where there's a prayer to Haya Shirsha. Very interesting. We're talking about that only. Right? Of course, the incarnation of Lord Haya Shirsha. Haya Shirsha Mam Pati Deva Helanat. Right? So by reciting the Narayana Kavacha, one can become free from this offenses. And actually, we see even in our daily lives, this Kavacham is actually mantra. So when people go for deity worship, also we do nyasa, we do purification. So anga nyasa or kara nyasa or whatever nyasa that we do is basically placing the Lord's holy name on different parts of the body. In fact, even putting tilak, our 12 or 13 places tilak in the body, is a form of nyasa purification. At the same time, it's a form of kavacha also. Because we are taking the holy names with mudra, for those who have done deity worship, right? And placing the Lord's mantra on each part of the body. Mantra is non-different from the deity of the mantra, mantra devata. So actually we are placing the Lord. Vamana, you sit here. Right? Trivikrama, you sit here. Rishikesha, you sit here. And with that consciousness, the devotee is moving throughout the day with the Lord situated on that part of the body. So he's moving as if protected, So it's very brilliant. Just like the Lord, when he moves, all his associates are surrounding him. Therefore, when you see, like recently, Jagannath Rath Yatra, you'll see a lot of the personalities are surrounding the Rath, decorated. So the Lord's temples also, all the personalities are surrounding it. So when the Lord moves, all his associates are there. When the devotee moves, who is there? The Lord. The Lord, the body is like a chariot. When the devotee moves, the Lord is surrounding him, protecting him. So actually, this is real Krishna consciousness. So we don't need to go into so many complications. Some people may say, I can't pronounce the mantras, this and that. Fine. Just by putting on tilak and just by chanting this Hare Krishna, that itself is a kavacha. So the real kavacha is actually the protection of our bhakti, protection of our bhakti creeper, not just this physical or material body. So that is the first point we would like to discuss about kavacha. Next, we are going to discuss about mantra, because kavacha is basically a mantra. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks also about mantra. He says this mantric kavacha. He says like that. So what is this mantra? Prabhupada says that mantra should be received in disciplic succession, else it will not become potent. He quotes like this. So there's a lot of discussion on this topic. So sometimes people say, does the mantra work without a right channel? Someone says that I can read the mantra here. So what is the need of a guru or a sampradaya? Mantra is already there. Mantra is printed. Mantra is published. So does the mantra work without a right channel? We can see an analogy of a bullet and a barrel gun. Bullet is very potent. If someone shows you a bullet itself, it's very frightening, right? Someone shows you a bullet, it's very scary. But if you throw a bullet, it's not going to be very effective. But that same bullet, if you put into a pistol or the barrel of the gun, now it becomes loaded, isn't it? And that same bullet can kill. So the mantra is very powerful indeed, but through the right channel, it becomes more potent. Another example we see where the Vedas are sometimes called as mother, Veda Garbha, right? The Lord is called Veda Garbha because he manifests, so he gives birth to the Vedas. So the Vedas are like mother. And sometimes it is mentioned that Guru is like the father because Guru brings alive the Veda mantras. Someone may read the Vedas, but they may not understand or not know the potency or the purpose of the mantra. So Guru is there just like a mother may create the body, but it's the father that gives the bijam, the seed, which makes the child alive. Similarly, it is the Guru which enlivens the mantra. So someone may say that I have the card right now. I can read all the mantras. If you go to Veda base, even all the Gayatri mantras are there. That is there. What is the need of the living Guru? No, the living Guru's vibration is which brings out or unlocks the mantra. Okay. So mantra is not just a repeated sound. It's not just a syllable. It's not just pronunciation. It's not just ucharanam. But mantra is actually a living, dynamic communion, connection with the Supreme. Right? We hear Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he always says, Dushtaman tumi kisire Vaishnav, Pratistara tare nirjana ghare, tava harinama kevala kaitav. If a person in his mind has dupliciousness, hypocrisy, what kind of Vaishnava is he? He's actually after pratishta, he's after pride, he's after fame. You want adoration? And for that, you sit alone in one place, holding on to your Harinam, your mantra, thinking that this mantra is going to save me, this mantra is my pride. Kevala kaita, it is just cheating, he says like that. So in this sense, mantra is powerful, but mantra alone is not sufficient. So whatever sadhana, mantropasana, worship of mantras, but without proper seva, mood of service, without proper bhavana of wanting to please, right? It is not valid. That is more important. Sometimes we see, that there are people who do not fall asleep during chanting. Very strict, powerful chanters. They chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They never fall asleep. But then they have duplicity in heart. They may not have nice service attitude. So that means the mantra is not absorbing actually. On the other hand, right? Such people, we can think that it's like trying to wash your hands with gloves on. You're putting the hands and you're washing. But the hands do not become clean. So someone who's so awake, so much, and they're chanting, okay, mantra has some effect, but it's not seeping in because it's not developing seva bhav, it's not developing humility, it's not developing dependency on Vaishnavas. On the other hand, sometimes we see great devotees, advanced devotees, senior devotees even. They little struggle in the japa. They may little nod off themselves once or twice. Right? Of course, the immature devotee should not judge them. Hey, ye bhi so rahe, hum bhi so rahe. We are same like him. Not like that. We should not judge others. Because we can clearly see that this person may be seemingly struggling, seemingly nodding off, seemingly inattentive. But later during the day, during their life, how is this person reacting? This person is so absorbed, so surrendered, so determined, so humble. So that means we cannot judge people. We have to see their intention. We have to see their conviction. That is more important. Right? So this is the dynamics of bhakti. It's inconceivable. Right? It is so hidden, it's so guhya, it's so gupta that it's not just mechanical principles of sitting straight. Of course, that is good. Sit straight, right pronunciation, we try. But ultimately, behind the mantra should also be the purpose of the mantra, which is only given by Guru. So, in Chaitanya Bhagavad, there's a nice shloka which comes in Madhya Lila, Madhya Khanda. It is mentioned where you cannot achieve God, Vishwambar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simply by all these externals of trying to master in mantra. It says, Vaishnavera kripaya se pai Vishwambhara bhakti vina japatapa akinchit kara. So Vishwambar Mahaprabhu can be attained only by the mercy of Vaishnavas. Vaishnavera kripa. Without devotional service, bhakti veen, bhakti heen, one's chanting, one's austerities, they're all meaningless. So here, if someone takes mantra independently, right, without the Vaishnava Samuhya or without the Guru Ashraya, it is meaningless. Similar thing in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also in Madhya Leela, there's a glorification of Krishna's sweetness, right? Krishna's amazing beauty. And here the stress on developing the right bhavana is said in a beautiful verse. Karma tapa yoga jnana viddhi bhakti japa dhyana iha hoite madhurya durlabha. True karma, true tapa, true yoga, true jnana, true vidhi bhakti, true japa, true dhyana. None of this can actually, madhurya is very far. Loving sentiment is very far from this. Kevala ye raga marge bhaje Krishna anurage. Only by raga or raganuga bhakti, true bhaje Krishna anurage, to actually developing favorable sentiments to pleasing Krishna. Tare Krishna madhurya sulabha. Only through that means you can actually taste nectar or ecstatic loves through the chanting of the holy names. So it's not a mechanical thing. And therefore, we are so lucky by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. All our festivals, all our worship, all our program is ultimately moved towards creating some loving sentiments of the Lord. Even when we're taking prasadam, isn't it? We recite the prasadam mantra. Why? It is not a ritualistic thing. Ultimately, we understand that Krishna has tasted this. Now I am going to taste it. So this is what by which develops our sentiments for the Lord. So real mantra is that by which raga, devotional sentiments, manifest within our heart. So this leads us to our next point, which we want to discuss about Guru. Because Guru gives us the meaning of the mantra. Guru gives us, there's a need of a Guru. Guru gives us to develop the right sentiments. There's a funny kind of circular story that people say that once a man went to a club and he wanted to get into the club, and he was thinking, how to get in. He saw that there was a bouncer or a guard, and the guard was asking everyone password. So first man comes to the club, he enters, the bouncer says 6, and the man said 3, and he goes in. Another man comes and the bouncer says 12, and he says 6, and he goes in. Now this person who's trying to get in, he sees all this happening, and he understands what is the mantra. It is so simple. If you say 6, he's answering 3. 2 options can be there, either divide by 2 or minus 3. But he sees the next person going, he says 12, and he gives the answer 6. That means it must only be 1. Divide by 2. So he, with all his pomp, having understood the mantra now, comes to the bouncer and he says, ask. Bouncer says 8. He says 4. He feels wrong. Wrong? 8 divided by 2 is 4. Right? So he says, ask again. He says 24. He says 12. Again, wrong. He says, what? Mantra is failing. Something wrong. He beats him and throws him out. So actually, what was the mantra? The mantra was how many letters are there? 6 SIX has 3. 12 TWEVLE, whatever, has 6. So it's a count. So when he says 8 EIGHT, should he say 5? Isn't it? So in this way, simply by mimicry, simply by observing, one cannot get the essence of the mantra. Right? So mantra needs guru. There's also a story that we hear in Mahabharata about Ekalavya, and everyone glorifies his Guru Nishta, Guru Seva, Guru Bhakti, right? But factually, as Mahabharata mentions, he tried to imitate the mantras. He saw, he observed Dronacharya and his performance, his recitation of the mantras, and he copied it, and he could do the same thing. But that same Dronacharya later comes and asks him for a dakshina of his thumb, thereby actually ending Ekalavya's career. Why? Because Drona Acharya saw that his Ekalavya was so powerful, but he was so skillful, but he did not have character. He was cruel. He would use the mantra siddhi of his arrows, right? This vidya, and he would bind the mouth of the dog without killing it. He's basically doing stitching, surgery. You know, you do stitches with a needle. He used the arrow and he stitched the mouth of the dog. Thereby the dog cannot bark. Because the dog was barking, he was feeling irritated, shot a few arrows and he tied them out. And Dronacharya said, my God, what a heinous, what a cruel thing. Who is this person? At the same time, very expert, isn't it? An expert surgeon, very expert. But how? He understood that this was Ekalavya immediately. So just see this example that just by mantra does not satisfy. In recent history of our own country in India, in the 1990s, we saw a movement, a revolution that came up in some parts of India, in one part of India actually, where certain sect of people felt bereft. They felt that why is temple worship only a prerogative of certain class or community of people? We should have our own temples. We should have our own right to worship. And these people started their own temples. They created their own temples, they created their own deities, they installed their own deities, and they started their own methods of worship. How did they learn this? Well, their leader visited local temples and they saw the pujari taking bell in the left hand and the archana, whatever to offer it, in the right hand. Oh, so simple. Bell should always be on the left hand. And saw how he is standing and how he did his circles. And he murmured some mantras. He murmured some mantras. Just imitate that, copy that. And he started to tell his people that this is all you have to do. Pick up a bell, right? Some of you can shave your head, looks more bona fide, right? Pick up some item, and all you have to do is just move in circles, and even counted how many times you have to move in circles. Is that puja? Shivana Shampru is sitting. What do you think is that puja? No. In fact, this created such a ripple in that very community that it happened that people started to become donkeys or cheaters because you're just imitating. And when someone has an issue, they say, yeah, you come to my temple, no problem. Take this basma, take this thing, take this and this, throw. Mantra, take it, done. So in fact, it actually created a disturbance in society. Like Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrikim Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harir Bhakti Utpadeva Kalpate. If you just try to show great Hari Bhakti, but not having the real mood of the mantra, it can be very utpad. It can be a disturbance, dangerous in society. Right? So just imitation is not enough. Therefore, we have printed, published mantras, and nowadays they even have mantra ringtones and mantra radios, and you can go on YouTube and learn all these mantras. But the need of a guru is very much important. So therefore, the real mantra is that which invokes the raga, the sentiments. So first we saw Kavacha. The real Kavacha is the prayer which we place the Lord on our body or even our mantra, the purpose is to ultimately for our protection of our bhakti. We saw the real Kavacha is actually protection. Sorry, that's the real Kavacha, protection of bhakti. The real mantra is that mantra by means which we invoke our loving our Raga bhakti for the Lord, Prema bhakti for the Lord. Now, third point we are going to discuss today is about Guru. Okay. So as we saw, Guru gives the mood behind the mantra. And here Prabhupada says there's a need of being connected in the right sampradaya, taking diksha or connection to the right disciplic succession. Some people argue Guru Diksha is not important. Some people says that it's just a formality. But no, ultimately accepting a Guru or Vaishnava comes from the heart because it means surrender to their guidance. It is very, very important. We see in all our sampradaya, all acharyas, everyone has a Guru, isn't it? Living Guru. So actually, this Guru, accepting a Guru is a two-way contract. It's a two-way contract. Why? The disciple makes a promise and actually Guru is also making promise. The disciple promises to follow and the Guru promises to lead. The disciple promises to follow, Guru promises to lead. The disciple promises to follow the rules, principles, and guidance. And the Guru promises to lead the disciple back home, back to God. It's a two-way contract. Right? The disciple doesn't do well, Guru has to come again. The Guru doesn't do well, the disciple gets stuck. So Guru Diksha basically is a contract. And both Guru and disciple have their responsibilities. This reminds us of a sloka that comes in the Bhaja Govindam prayers by Shripad Adi Shankaracharya, where he says, Guru Charanambuja Nirbara Bhakta Samsara Chirad Bhava Mukta. If one who has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of the Guru, Guru Charanambuja Nirbara Bhakta, one can very easily, Achirat, in no time, in fact, Samsara Bhaya Mukta, one can actually cross over this ocean of samsara. That is what the Guru gives. But what is the responsibility of the disciple? Sendriya manasa niyamadevam. Sendriya manasa niyamadevam. One has to respect the Guru like a Deva, like the Deva here means the Guru. Sendriya, Indriya manasa. He has to control his senses and mind, niyama, by following the principles. Then what he will get? If both do this contract, Guru leads and disciple follows properly, by completion of this contract, like any business dealing, na? By completion of this contract, what they get? Drakshasi nija hridayastam devam. Drakshasi nija hridayastam devam. One can actually see the Supreme Lord situated within the heart. That means the heart becomes so purified. Right? So this is the power of Guru. So one has to be connected to a bona fide sampradaya. Prabhupada mentions in the purports of 4 bona fide sampradayas, of which we are also fortunate to be connected to the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Guru Shishya Sampradaya. And we also see Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, he recommends in his 64 limbs of the Angas of Bhakti, the first 5 limbs have to do with Guru. He says, Adhav Guru Padashraya. If you want to begin Bhakti, you have to take shelter of a Guru first. Tasmat Krishna Dikshadi Shikshanam. You have to take Krishna Diksha. Right? You have to take initiation into Hari mantras, into Hari Upasana, worship of Hari or Krishna or Vishnu, and take like that. And then Vishambena Guru Seva. Now one has to very intimately, very carefully worship the Guru, serve the Guru. Sadhu Vartman Vartanam. And one has to actually follow the footsteps of others who are led by the Guru. And Sat Dharma Pracha. One should actually have to inquire from the Guru. Like that. So even in Shastras, especially Mahabharata, we hear the famous story of Upamanyu, right, of his Guru Bhakti. I'll just narrate it very shortly. Most of devotees know this story of Upamanyu. So once his Guru, Daumya Rishi, na? Upamanyu's Guru? Daumya Rishi once told all his disciples, he gave the seva Upamanyu of Go Seva. Chalo Upamanyu, you take care of the cows. And Upamanyu said, yes, Gurudev. And he was taking care of the cows, taking care of the cows. And one day Upamanyu comes back looking very fat and stout. And Guru said, I only asked you to take care of the cows. What are you doing? He says, oh Gurudev, I go for Madhukari, taking Bhiksha. And whatever Bhiksha I get, I eat. Guru says, oh Upamanyu, no, 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 no. Don't do like that. Whatever you have collected in Bhiksha, first you must surrender to the Guru. Then only you can eat. Oh, okay, Gurudev. Okay, Gurudev. So Upamanyu goes again, gathers Bhiksha, comes back and offers to his Guru. So Upamanyu here is a little, what one may consider a dull disciple, a little dull, but very sincere. After some time, again Guru sees, Daumya Rishi sees that Upamanyu is again becoming a little fat. He says, Upamanyu, you are surrendering all your Bhiksha to me, but how is it that you're becoming Pushta? He says, Gurudev, first Bhiksha I collect for you, second Bhiksha I collect for me. He says, no, 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 Upamanyu, you should not do like this. You cannot collect for yourself. Okay, sorry, Gurudev. Right? So then later, Upamanyu is feeling very hungry. Little Brahmana boy gets hungry very fast. So later, after some time again, Gurudev sees that Upamanyu has become a little pushed. And he asks Upamanyu, what are you doing now? What are you secretly eating? He says, Gurudev, I feel very hungry. I drink the milk of the cows. He says, Upamanyu, no, you must first offer it before you drink directly. He says, oh, sorry, Gurudev, I'll not do it anymore. So he doesn't do it anymore. After some more months, he's still a little stout. He says, Upamanyu, what are you doing now? He says, Gurudev, I feel so hungry. I nourish myself with the froth, the fena, which is in the mouth of the calves when they drink the milk of the mother. He says, oh, Upamanyu, don't do like this. That is for the cows. Don't derive them. Sorry, Gurudev. I will not do it. So here's Upamanyu, very sincere disciple. One day he's taking the cows out and he feels very hungry. When we go out, we travel, we feel extra hungry, isn't it? You see in India, especially in trains and buses, wherever they stop, people come to sell something. People know when people travel, they like to snack. They like to eat. So here is Upamanyu taking the cows, walking around, and he's feeling hungry. And he sees some leaves which look very nutritious, look very delicious. He plucks the leaves and he eats them, but they were poisonous leaves. He loses his eyesight. And he falls into a ditch and he's thinking, oh, just look at me. Gurudev is saying, no, no, no. Somehow or other, I'm trying to find my way through sense gratification. And just see now, I've fallen in this ditch and I'm blinded. And he starts crying. Somehow Paramatma's connection, because there's a contract between Guru and disciple, Daumya Rishi feels that where has this Upamanyu gone? It's been so many days. He takes all his shishya and starts looking. And he sees Upamanyu in a hole. He asks, Upamanyu, what has happened to you? Upamanyu says, my dear Gurudev, please forgive me. Without your permission, without your guidance, without your direction, I ate some leaves. And it turns out to be poisonous leaves. I lost my eyesight. Please help me. I'm so sorry. Daumya Rishi starts to understand the disciple's sincerity. And he says, I give you a mantra, Guru giving mantra, by which you can invoke the Ashwini Kumaras. And you pray to these Ashwini Kumaras to please heal you. That's what Daumya says. Please pray to them to heal you. That's it. So here's Upamanyu sitting blinded, sitting in a cavern, and he is chanting this Ashwini mantras which Guru has given. And believe it or not, Ashwini Kumaras appear and they said, oh, Upamanyu, don't worry. There's a simple remedy, right? Because Ashwini Kumaras are our Ayurvedic doctors, right? The Vaidyas of the Devatas. And they make some medicine, some potion. They say, here, eat this. And now Upamanyu, who has, PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome, probably, right? Shock syndrome. He's no, I'm not going to eat anything. He says, no, eat. Your Guru only asked to call me. And now no, Guru said to call you to pray. Guru did not say call you and eat from your hands. I will not take this medicine. Guru has not sanctioned it. So just see the Guru Nishta after learning his lesson. The Ashwini Kumaras become so pleased with the Guru Bhakti of Upamanyu. And they, without even him accepting the potion, without even accepting the medicine, they heal him and says, in henceforth, you will become a very famous, a very powerful disciple of your spiritual master, like that. So we are also fortunate in our practice day to day, we are singing this Guru Vandana, which is a glory to Guru. In fact, there's a book by Narottam Das Thakur called Prema Bhakti Chandrika. It's a beautiful book. Sometimes people read the title, they think it's some esoteric thing. Prema Bhakti Chandrika, but it's not really. It's very tattvic, very siddhantic. First chapter is all glorification of Guru. Some 40 verses are there only. Small book, but very beautifully sectioned. Guru, glory of Guru, glory of Bhakti, glory of Vaishnavas. A very nice section. And the beginning of that book is all verses from Guru Vandana. Same Guru Vandana prayers in it. They're all, it's written in Bengali, right? So we sing this, we sing Guru Astakam to remember who is actually a Guru. There's one book which is there in ISKCON, which is a beautiful book also. There's about, I think, 60 or 80 verses only. It is called Sri Krishna Bhajanamrit by Srila Narahari Sarkar Thakur. So this book is very interesting. There's a lot of Guru Tattva in this book. Actually, not only Guru Tattva, they talk about the importance of Guru, serving Vaishnavas, how to deal with Guru, how to deal with the God uncles, the God brothers of the Guru, how to deal with your own God brothers when they criticize you, how to deal with your Param Guru, how to deal with accepting the instructions of Guru, how to deal with others connecting with Guru, right? Also, the last part of this book comes is when to reject the Guru. So they give a few instances. It's a very long, nice book. Someone can take a seminar on this, Sri Krishna Bhajanamrit. They even say certain things, like I'll share one, which I got to know through reading the books of His Holiness Indrananda Swami Maharaj, where he quotes this verse of Krishna Bhajanamrit. He says that the shelter of one's Guru is most perfect, even if apparently you see another Guru, which is more greater, more powerful, more amazing, more famous, has more disciple, but still the shelter of one's own Sri Guru is most perfect. He says like that. So very beautiful kind of things which are good for disciple. So what is a real Guru? Who is a real Guru? A real Guru is one. A real Guru is one who wants to see the disciple developed loving sentiments towards Krishna and serving Krishna constantly. That is a Guru. Guru does not see the bank balance. Guru does not see this and that. But if the disciple has become a lover of Krishna, that is what the Guru wants. So who is a Guru? How to identify a Guru? Of course, we know, connected to Sampradaya. But Mahaprabhu says, Je Krishna Tattva Vetta se Guru hoy. One who actually knows Krishna Tattva, the science of Krishna consciousness in and out. They are Guru. And Padma Puran gives another verse. He says, Shat karma nipuno vipro mantra tantra visarada. There might be some Brahmana who is Sat karma, expert in the Sat karmas. What are the Sat karmas? 6 activities which Brahmanas do. Patan Patan, Yajan Yajan, Dana, and Pritigraha. Right? Basically, teaching or learning, being taught, worshipping, teaching how to worship, at the same time giving, expert in giving dan, and at the same time expert receiving. You must know when to give, you must know when to receive also. So if a Brahmana is so expert in this, but a Vaishnava Gurur Nasyat, but if that kind of a Brahmana is not a Guru, sorry, not a Vaishnava, he cannot be a Guru. Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. But on the other hand, even if a person is Swapacha, even if a person is a dog eater, if he's a devotee, he can become a Guru. So it's a very brilliant, revolutionary statement which is there in Padma Purana. And like this, Sanatan Goswami extends in his explanation that why is the Vaishnava so dangerous? Why is the Bhakta or non-devotee so dangerous if they become a Guru? He says, Vaishnava mukodkirnam putam harikatamritam. That pure harikata which comes out from the mouth of a non-devotee, shravanam naiva kartavyam, which has no use. Why? Sarpo chistam yatapaya. It is like milk which is touched by the serpent. Milk is very nutritious. Milk is very healthy. But at the same time, if it's being touched by a serpent, it becomes poisonous. It becomes dangerous. So all of us have to be very careful. We have accepted a Guru. We have accepted Sampradaya. We have accepted Parampara. And now, especially in the social media age, there's a little kujli, a little itch to hear from here, to hear from there. Right? Krishna Bhajanamrit, it mentions that if one hears something from somewhere, one has to go back to his Guru and check it first. Then one can accept the knowledge coming from the Guru. Right? It mentions like that. This is the what do you call, decorum that one has to maintain. So we should be very careful that we have Guru, we have Acharyas, we have Sampradaya, we have Parampara. Tendency nowadays to hear there, here, this is more exciting. That point was not there. I've never heard this in ISKCON, then probably you need to go out of ISKCON if you want to hear those points. Isn't it? So we should be very chaste to our sampradaya. And in this way, today we saw Kavacha, mantra, and guru. Because the other way is reverse ways, right? By guru, we get mantra. By mantra, we get the real Kavacha, which is the protection of our bhakti. So we like to end here. Sorry for taking 5 minutes over time. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्रील गुरुवर्ग की जय.